Hi, I'm calling the meeting to order so that we may be efficient and on time. So, and welcome. David Sill is coming. He's going to be late. He sits next to you, Susan, on your right. And my first order of business is to welcome our two new board members, Anita Harding. Susan, is it Melander? Is that how you pronounce it?
That's right.
And we're both thrilled to have you. So welcome.
Thank you.
I'm sure any board member would be available anytime if you have questions, or myself or Liz, so feel free. I'm sure there will be questions that will pop up as time goes on. So, we do have a quorum, and we will have a full board when David gets here, so that's very exciting. It's been a while since we've had a full board of 9 board members. All right, a quick reminder that this is an open meeting, and we do need to adhere to the open meeting laws. And I say that at the beginning of every meeting, just to remind everybody, so. Welcome guests and staff. Do we have any announcements, board members? And for you new board members, we have at the beginning of the agenda a general announcement time. Sometimes people come across information that's just general, information to get out, and we like to share it with our viewers. And it's a good way to do that. It's nothing business-wise, it's just something. For example, I'll make the announcement that Springdale Farm is continuing with their senior project this summer, and every Tuesday, people can still go and sign up. Every Tuesday, you go and sign up, and you get a bag, and they will fill the bag with produce of their choice. And you pay $14, and it's guaranteed to be $20 worth of food. And go back every week, and they have a card, and every time you're there, make sure they punch your hole in your card, and after 12 weeks, you get a week free. So, all seniors out there, please take advantage and go and visit Jamie Cruz. She's been wonderful to seniors. So, yes.
Yeah,
another
I just
announcement.
wanted to let people know that there will not be a Littleton Memory Cafe this month in August, but we will return back in September on the fourth Saturday of the month from 10 to noon at the First Baptist Church. And we have a guitar player who will be coming and entertaining us. So.
Nice. Yeah.
Third Thursday is this week.
Third Thursday is this week. I've heard a little bit about rain in the forecast, so I'm not too sure. We'll wait and see. That's what happens in New England. So, you play it by ear. But it is scheduled for this Thursday.
The last one was okay.
Yep. So, but it is scheduled for this Thursday. So, and I am obligated. I obligated myself to be there and representing the board with Liz, and Nicole's there. Sometimes she is, and whatever.
And the friends will also be there this time with us.
Yes, and the friends are having a table. So.
I also saw downstairs in the knitting room, there's a thing at the Life Care Center on Thursday, 5 to 7, barbecue and entertainment.
Oh.
Life Care of Littleton?
No, Life Care in Acton.
Acton, okay.
And you're inviting people?
Well, it was there. It said call such and such to sign up. Didn't say that, I didn't see a cost
Wasn't that
on
the clam
it.
bake?
Yes, it's a
Yeah.
clam bake.
Wow.
No lobsters,
Yep.
shrimp, but
Shrimp, steamers, burgers, chicken.
Wow.
This
Lots
is
of
when?
things. Thursday this week.
At the Acton Life Care Center.
Yes.
So you might call, if someone's
That's
interested,
third
call them
Thursday.
to get information.
Right.
Okay.
And is this week the Peach Social, or is it next week?
no, it's next week.
Next Wednesday.
Next, a week from this Wednesday,
Right.
is the Peach Social, and that's held at the where is it held?
At the
Library.
Library.
At the.
They're hoping to have it inside.
No, the
The
Historical
Historical
Society.
Building.
Well, it used to be the library.
The Historical Society, and I believe it's in the evening, or
6:30 and it's
6:30.
outside.
And it's outside. But I've never been, I
It's
have to
good.
admit, and I
Delicious.
hear it is
It's
wonderful.
delicious.
I've heard it's
Delicious.
wonderful. So
14th
please.
annual at 4 Rogers
Oh,
Street.
here we go, 4 Rogers
Nicole
Street.
just handed me this.
Okay, Any times?
Yep, the time is right on the top. 6:30 to 8.
6:30 to 8.
Take advantage and go, because I've heard it's a wonderful
It is. It's very
event.
nice.
And in a note from them, it said, come early because the peaches go fast.
Yeah.
Right.
I heard that before.
I think it's true. So from what I hear about it. So.
And tomorrow is the cookout with State Rep Arciero and Senator Eldridge here at noon downstairs. Come join us for some burgers and hot dogs.
That would be fun. It's always a
You
good
need to
event.
sign
It's
up.
always good if I go to the right.
People have signed up.
Yeah, mostly everybody is signed up, but there's still room.
So if you're just hearing about it, there's still room, folks. So, come. Are there any other announcements? Good job. Lots of announcements today.
Needed more space.
Okay, moving on, we need to accept the minutes of the June 10th meeting, and there's a copy of them in your packet. I did find this, oops, no, that isn't it. Wrong reminder, but it was the Morrison Fund, and it went to the TRED, that money, remember we had to add, he asked us to fix that, and we didn't. So, we might have some corrections to fix, Bob, since we did not do it earlier.
There's
I'm
no
not the secretary
end to it.
anymore.
But you have the hard copy of this, we can do it.
Yes, there's only 2 pages.
I only have one.
You only have one?
That's what I'm looking for is page 2, but I don't see it.
Well, I can give you page 2. Could you pass this down, please? You have page 2.
Yeah.
Okay, I have no working copy, I took it out.
Thank you.
Here it is. Yeah, we'll have to fix that. And it was the Morrison Fund, and it went to the TRED, I
Yeah.
found that. So. And it was 2,500?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. And this one, it just doesn't read quite right. I think this needs to be. This needs to be.
I want to know, on this Article 3, 3.1, it says, no member may serve more than three consecutive 3-year terms. Now, if you started in as a 2, do you get 3 3s?
According to that, you do.
It's number 3 on page 2.
Okay. Number 4, Article 3.3. We've already changed the new policy,
Oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry.
so.
No, it's Article 2.
Article 2.
It's 333. Article 331, but it's number 2 there, under C.
3.
Is the question if someone comes in for a partial term, do they still get 3 full terms?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
The way it's written, it sounds like you do. No member may serve more than 3 consecutive 3-year terms.
I believe. Let me just see how it was changed, because we're just correcting the minutes as to what we voted on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's over here.
And there should be an F in number 3 of members of the council.
Okay.
You got that one? I don't have that. Okay.
Not that that's a big deal.
C3. time finding it in here.
Probably doesn't say.
3. The islands have any Cs, so that's a problem.
So this is the one she's questioning.
3-1. What are you questioning, Mary? Say that
You
again.
come in for half.
If a person has a 2-year, is appointed for a 2-year term, do they still have the right to 3 full terms?
3-year.
3 3-year terms?
Well, that's a question we'll have to ask at a different time because we're just doing the minutes.
Well, I know,
This is
but
what
it just
happened in the
didn't
minutes.
clarify it, you know.
I know, but the minutes, we voted on those changes, and they are in place. And so if we want to change something, we're going to have to discuss it again.
We're not
She
questioning
doesn't
to
want to change it,
change,
she
we're
just wants to know what.
clarification.
Well, then, I'm gonna, for the exact, I don't have my notes. I'm gonna have to look at the tape to get that clarification, so we can postpone.
Just curious.
Fine, just find out an answer.
We will postpone making a decision on approving the minutes and pending finding that out, all right? Bring it back next month, 'cause I can't answer that myself without looking at the minute, the tape of the meeting. I don't recall what happened at the meeting.
I have another question related to that, and that is that I noticed that there are 4 people with 220 terms, and there should be 3 people with 222 terms, and there are only 2. And I wondered why they didn't take one of the people who was coming on and make them a 222.
Are you talking about, you're talking about the new,
The term,
What's he
to make
Okay, well,
all
can
the
we-
terms equal, so that there are.
can we address that? Let's finish
Yeah,
with the minutes.
I'm just, that's
Yeah.
just something you want to check on. The board may have, the selectmen may have made that decision, but I think it was probably, should have been, one of them should have been put till 222.
I will follow up on that and find out. Thank you. I could have made a mistake when I was transposing too. I mean, that's possible. I do make mistakes, so I'll look into that though. Thank you. Yeah. So,
We'll
okay.
research.
We'll research the minutes and bring them back again. Is that agreeable to everyone?
That's fine.
Okay. All right. This is what happens when you take a month off and things aren't clear in your head, right?
Well, that's what the minutes say, so that, you're not questioning the minutes, you're questioning.
Well, that's my thought too, is we're not questioning the minutes. It's a
You
new
can-
thing
you
to
can
decide.
Accept the minutes, but
Where is he
you
talking?
need to find an answer to
I don't see it.
the inquiry. In which case, we would need to maybe put something in that says, if a person begins with a short term, they are or are not eligible for.
Oh, is he
So
still?
you're questioning what it says, and that is what was said and what was discussed at the meeting.
No, I'm not really questioning what it says. I'm just wondering what happens before. If you come in as because someone has left the board, and you're doing a partial.
They finish out the term of the person that they're I don't remember off the top of my head, I think it's Anita that is finishing out Dr. Michael's term.
Right.
And then she would have to apply again next year.
Would she
Okay,
have
but-
the ability to serve 3 consecutive
Consecutive
3-year terms?
After
I finished Mary Kay's term and was told that I could apply 3 times if I wanted to.
Right.
Right, and that's
Okay,
what
and
we're
that's-
trying to clarify.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, that's what I was told when
And
I
that could with
re-upped
this
it
month's
the
minutes.
first time. And I re-upped it, this is my second
And
term to
Who told you
re-up.
that, the town
And if
clerk?
I want to, when I'm done, I could do it again, I was told. I probably
Who told you that?
but I
The
was
town
told I
clerk?
could.
The town clerk? Who told you that?
Diane.
Yeah, the town
Okay.
clerk, so that's fine, we can just put a note in today's minutes.
So we can vote on the minutes.
Right, yes,
And
okay.
then,
All right. You okay with that, Mary?
That's fine. No, I just wanted to know.
All right, we do have a correction down, another correction underneath G,
Right, donation.
donation, and the donation was from the Morrison Fund in the amount of $2,500. It was voted to be accepted and applied to the TRED Fund. So we just need to clarify that.
We just need to put what the question marks mean, because I
Right.
didn't get it.
Yep.
Correct. So we have that information, and we're fixing that. We will fix that. So that is one correction. And then I think up
A
here,
typo.
there is a typo up, and we'll put that in under Article 3.
I move the minutes be accepted as corrected.
I second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded.
Emphatically,
It's been moved and seconded that the minutes be accepted. All those in favor?
As
aye.
corrected.
Pardon me?
As corrected.
As corrected, sorry, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And abstentions? None, so it's unanimous. Okay, thank you, folks. Sorry about that. Okay.
Bob, how does it feel to be free of your laptop?
Oh, I feel fine. I didn't even bring a pencil. Who's taking the minutes?
We're gonna watch and type them up later.
Okay.
Yep, and we have an experienced person who will be doing that, who does have some very complex
Sue-
minutes.
Sue looked at me and said, "I am," and I said, "Oh, that's what they
Yes,
told
you
us."
are.
So, we are good to go. We are covered, so. We have 3 members of the Friends here, all board members, and I don't want to make a presumption, but would somebody like to come to the table, one of you, and give us a report? No? Oh, your vice president will.
Come on down.
Come on down.
And just while she's coming to the table, we did, the Friends were nice enough to share an updated version of their bylaws, and that is in your packet, in your packets. The items with holes punched that go in your manual, they are, updating things or new. And the Friends bylaws is new. Right, you have a copy of it to go in your manual under the tab Friends of the COA. So, okay. Hi, Nancy.
Hi. Barbara apologizes. She has a doctor's appointment today.
It's okay.
I have one tomorrow.
Are you going to be at the barbecue?
I hope so. So we have planned out all next year until June. Our functions are in our minutes for you with the dates. In September, it's going to 50s hop. We're going to have music. Mark Rory is going to be playing with his band. And El Forno is going to be catering. They will be catering pasta and meatballs, salad and garlic bread. And we will be supplying dessert. And the list goes on. In October, we have something a little different. Because we can't get our knockwurst anymore, like we used to, we're just going to get hot dogs.
Why can't you get the knockwurst in?
The special knockwurst, because the guy doesn't do it anymore. He went out of business.
Thank you.
So we're going to have Costco hot dogs, the foot-long ones.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to be supplying the sauerkraut and the onions and the mustard and the ketchup and the dishes and the plastics and the spoons and the drinks. So it's going to be wonderful. The only thing is we have to pick it up.
Beer this year?
Yes, absolutely. Beer, non-alcoholic.
O'Toole's.
Liz has graciously told the Friends that we can use the broadcast to send out our requests for money on a monthly basis like Groton does.
Mm-hmm.
So I have my team working on doing our letter. Instead of putting in Groton's and changing the name to Littleton, we're going to do our own.
Good.
And we're very excited about that. We've tried in the past, and the other directors said no. And Liz said yes, because she's wonderful. That's all I can think of for the moment. Oh, it's this third Thursday. The Friends will be there. And it'll be my first time being there,
You'll enjoy it. If it's a good day.
if it's a good day. And I'll be with Marge and Liz.
Mhm.
And I don't know if Barbara's going to be making it, but we'll see. Anything else I can help you with?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you said about the other director said no about what?
Putting a funding letter in with their broadcaster.
An insert into the broadcaster
Yeah,
for the Friends to use. And they can use it to,
and who said no?
Pam,
previous directors have said no.
Oh, previous directors
Yeah.
who said no.
Pam, Janice Nowicki said no. That we could not do this.
Okay.
But Liz says we can.
Because it's the Council on Aging newsletter and it's the conflict of interest. Okay, I just didn't understand.
It's not really a conflict of
No.
interest because we're
It
making
is.
money for them.
For
you.
Hi, David.
Are we doing it or not?
The one sheet insert? Yeah.
Okay, so now we're doing it.
Yeah,
With
it's
the-
not coming from
Fine.
the
Not a
Council on Aging
COA,
Board.
no, it's not a COA board published thing. It's just being mailed out in that newsletter, in the
Okay,
broadcaster.
That's fine, yeah, I just didn't understand. Hi, David.
Hey, David.
Hi, Dave.
Good to see you.
Glad to be here finally.
Oh, we're really thrilled. I said it's the first time we've had a full board in a long time, so it really feels nice.
Excellent.
You missed all the exciting stuff. They voted my minutes with only 2 corrections.
All right.
Okay, thank you, Nancy, and Sharon, and Dottie. And if you have anything else you want to add as time goes on, please just raise your hand or something and we'll get you squeezed in. Okay. All right, we have no old business, according to our agenda. And we do have some new business. So the first item under the new business is a working group for a senior center. So there's a little story that I need to share with you about that. And back, let's see, a week ago today, there was a meeting of Liz, Cindy Napoli, Joe Knox, Nina Nazarian, our town administrator, Nancy Levine, Barbara McCrae, myself, and Patty. And Bob Stetson was asked to be there.
You were in-
But I was out of
And
town.
he was out of town, so he couldn't be there. And that came from Nina's office, is that correct? Yes. So, the meeting was originally scheduled a couple of days in the previous week, but we had to cancel it for one reason or another. But we did meet a week ago today at 3:30. And at that time, it was very exciting from my perspective anyway, and I think from the Friends too, they felt the same way. It was made very clear to us that the selectmen are behind, and in walks one of our selectmen. Perfect timing.
How are you?
I'm telling them about the working group meeting last week.
Excellent.
So welcome, Cindy.
Thank you.
So, it was made very clear to us that the selectmen are in support of the senior center. I think that's a fair statement to make. And at that time, though, the COA board was asked / kind of directed, but and because it was a great idea, to assume more responsibility in getting out and interfacing with the community and sharing information to help get the word out. Is that a correct, good way of saying it? I think, And the Friends were asked to commence fundraising for a senior center. Is that fair, Nancy? Fair interpretation? Okay. So, we find that very exciting. This is a working group put together to help progress and get the word out about the need for a senior center, etc. We talked a lot about the library and the wonderful example and role model their efforts have been, and how we can learn from that. So there was a lot of discussion, and we will be meeting monthly, and a date was set for our next meeting in September, first part of September. So, yes.
Okay, I'm not understanding. the Friends are going to do the fundraising, we're going to do the publicity to get people to be involved and excited about the center. What is the purpose of the working group?
The purpose, I believe, of the working group is to help keep things working, to bring the two groups together.
Communication.
And communication, to make sure that we are sharing ideas. Some great ideas came out, which I can share with you, Cindy has great ideas about things and ways we can do things. Joe had great ideas, and Nina has ideas. And, everybody needs to hear those ideas, the Friends and the COA, and then we need to tease out, okay, who's gonna do what and how are we gonna do this?
So the members of that group who are on the COA board will be bringing the information to the board for their action. And the members of the Friends who are on that board will be bringing the Friends
Correct.
suggestions for fundraising.
Correct.
Right.
And the working group will be working with them to find ways to do that. Okay,
Yep.
that's fine, I just,
No, ask questions, because it's important that you understand. If you think back, we tried working, having COA, special meetings, and joint meetings with the Friends, but that was an unruly sized working group, really, if you think about it.
It's a lot of
It was
people.
too many people, and it was difficult to, put it all together. This is a smaller working group with representation from everybody that's involved. The selectmen, the town administrator, the COA board, and the Friends of the COA. And it's a much more workable, can be a more productive group.
do decisions of the board members who are on that, do they have to bring things back to the board for approval?
To this board for approval?
Yeah.
I think anything that is requested, certainly I would bring back to you people. I am today, when I'm talking about developing COA goals.
Okay, but the board won't, that group won't be making decisions. It will be providing information for the boards, and the board will have to approve
Well, and-
what they would want to do and so forth.
In some cases, I think they might be considered making a decision. When you're asking and saying to the COA board, can you be more, as a board, be out and into the community more, that's kind of a decision, but not really. It's not saying, but it's awfully good advice, I think. So I don't see it that way, but the same with, I think, the Friends, if they've been asked to start fundraising, that's kind of a decision in a way. You can say it's a decision that needs to happen. People feel that it needs to happen, and maybe, so I don't think that
What I'm
they're
looking
not
at
going to
is I
take.
want to know who's going to make the final decisions as to what's going to happen in terms of going out into the community, setting up meetings,
Oh,
raising funds, how they're going to raise them, what kind of.
if we're going out into the community, we will manage that. Liz has
Okay.
already put together
So
a wonderful
they're-
slideshow.
The group will only be making suggestions as to possibilities
right.
of how to do these things.
Right.
Marge, if I may, yeah.
Yeah.
So really what we're looking for is for the groups to bring the information back to the working group and share ideas that way. We're really, we put out some ideas, for fundraising and whatnot, and to get more direction from the COA board, but we're not gonna say, assign you a specific task.
Okay,
And
that's.
yeah, it's more vice versa. Like,
Right.
we'd like your group to come up with some ideas, and then Marge can bring it back to the working group
Thank you.
and
That's-
share ideas.
Okay, thank you. That's yeah.
Fine.
Anyone else? Questions? Yes,
That's
Nancy?
why it was so important for Liz to offer to have a funding letter put in the monthly broadcaster. That is huge. So we do funding year round, but this is very important because it's seniors to seniors. We will be going out. to-
I agree with you, Nancy, but I'm thinking more in terms of going out and getting community organizations and/or businesses to make significant, and how you
Yes.
go about doing that, which would be a very big
Yes.
part of fundraising, which pretty much you don't do now.
Yes, but we were told a couple of years ago not to, by the selectmen, because the new businesses came into town and all the nonprofits went looking for donations. So we were told, hands
fine.
off.
Yep.
Well, now the gloves are coming off,
Well, but those are the kind of things that are gonna have to be
Right.
Yeah.
dealt
Can
with.
I just jump in, just on that note, so just in terms of the businesses, I've been exploring options about the fundraising and what our role is and what we can and cannot do as director and board, and what the Friends can do. And I got some information from Sharon, the director in Acton. She went to the selectmen and they created a gift account specifically for a senior center. And she was able to craft a letter to local businesses that she shared with me that I'll share with Marge to disseminate to the group. But that might be one thing we explore, maybe creating a specific COA gift fund revolving account that we can utilize as the board, market to that.
And definitely the board's job is to disseminate and information and to hear what the community has to say. They might have great thoughts and ideas about a senior center too. So basically.
What I'm concerned with is that, does that mean that the money that the Friends now have set aside for the senior center will go into that gift account? I don't want to get into that. I just want the questions raised so that everybody understands, what's going to happen.
I think we'll be teasing that out as we go along.
Right.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, and if I just, so for the Veterans Corner project, for example, the Board of Selectmen voted to set up a gift account specifically for that project. And then the Friends of the Littleton Veterans, they sold the banners, they fundraised, they had a check that they made a donation that then in turn went into that gift account. So it's along the same lines as that.
Yeah. But that's going to be their responsibility. They being the Friends.
The fundraising.
The fundraising
is their
yes.
responsibility.
Yeah.
That is not
Okay.
ours.
That's
Still,
fine.
that has not changed.
Yep.
We are not allowed to actively go out and fundraise. But we can support it. So, yes.
Spread the word.
And spread the word and help get that information out. Okay. Other questions about the working group? And along those lines, I sent an email out to Nancy and Barbara McCrae and Patty after that working group meeting and asked for their feelings about, and Liz actually, their feelings about continuing to have special COA board meetings with the Friends, the two groups together. And everyone agreed that they were not necessary. It's a different management, different structure, and so that we will not be holding those special meetings anymore. I just want to make that clear too, and we've agreed to that.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay? I think this will take the place of it and be more productive perhaps. But information
That doesn't
will,
mean we're not going to report.
no,
back to
information
this
will be
group
coming,
What's going on?
that's right.
You're still up to date.
And maybe sometimes something will happen and it means sending an email out between meetings. I don't know. We'll see how things go.
So the working group from the COA is you and Patty
And Bob.
and Bob.
Though I didn't know it until I got back to it.
Well, he's been out of town and won't be back in town until September sometime anyway, really, right? Okay. David, you had a request at our last meeting that we discuss the nominating committee's procedures.
Yes,
And I did put this down on the agenda because I did not want to lose track of it.
okay.
However, if you look at item number C, the item is to develop COA goals for the years 2019, 2020.
Yep.
And I'd like to suggest to you that maybe we could consider that in our goals when we're talking about setting up
Yeah,
a
we
goal.
don't need to talk about it this month.
No, so but I didn't want to lose track of it, so I put it on the agenda to make sure we moved it into, and we can talk about having that as a goal.
Okay.
Yes, Maureen?
On that same token, at that training session that we went to the other night, very clearly in the PowerPoint presentation says that it cannot be a secret or ballot.
Right. David was at that training, so. Yeah, just to bring the board up to date. A week ago, last Wednesday night, there was a training at the police station put on by the Inspector General from the state of Massachusetts And actually, this is a handout, the book that they gave out. It was a 3-hour training. David, Maureen, Mary, Patty, and I attended from this board. And that was a wonderful representation, I think, so. But, so we all have had that training, and it was a little bit more detailed than I've heard before, in many ways. So, we can talk more about that at a different time if you'd like, but, and I do have a copy, everybody has, I think David has a copy of this book too. We all have a copy of this book, if anybody wants to borrow it and take a look at it. So,
Just a question
yes.
on that. Has anybody here that attended that gotten the PowerPoint?
I did not.
Not yet. No, I haven't either. I signed up though for it. I gave my
I did too.
email address.
So nobody
Yes.
else got it? All right,
No.
well,
No, I think they're just slow.
If they don't do something in a while, we'll just have to ask for it.
Yeah.
Because it was really good. We
It
should-
was. He was excellent. I thought he was excellent. It was very good.
So you're saying that the Attorney General's office made clear the fact that you cannot hold a secret ballot on the people who apply. If you have 3
On
and only 2
nominating.
places, you still have to have an open ballot. And that was only a part of the question. The question was the whole procedure.
But we can talk about that.
Yeah, and keep in mind, it doesn't really say what they mean by secret ballot. So you have to figure out
We'll
what they
talk
mean.
more about that, yeah. We can get more information on it.
Okay.
So. Okay.
See, don't you wish I was behind my computer?
Yes.
No, he's not having a hard time though, hearing us. You are not having any trouble at all, but I think it's just too hard to do all that, yeah. And just briefly too, my perception is, for our sharing information, we're here to support Liz. She's done a tremendous amount already. You remember the handouts that were done at town meeting, and that's a great basis of information right there. She has done a wonderful PowerPoint presentation that she presented at town meeting, yes. And that, I'm sure, so anything we do would be in conjunction with her. So it isn't just going to be us putting this stuff together and everything, so. Okay? Questions from anyone about any of this yet, so far? No? All right then.
I suggest we do D next so that Cindy doesn't have to sit through our goal.
Well, Cindy asked to be at last. Do you still
Yeah,
wish to
that's
be
fine.
last?
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Okay,
So, that's why I put her there.
okay.
I
No, I know that. No, I meant if she was gonna
No, I
make it
appreciate that.
on affordable housing, she could do that before we did the goals.
Right, but.
Go ahead.
Yep. So, now, in conjunction, just so you add a little bit of knowledge, in June, when the selectmen made the appointments for committees, boards, they initiated a new procedure. And when somebody like Patty was appointed, after they took their vote, Nina, our town administrator, got up and went to them and handed them this particular document. I did not print it to put into your packets, but in essence, what it says is, I'll read you the one paragraph. It's really important, I think, that we all understand what's going on. In an effort to improve communication between the Board of Selectmen and the committees and boards which it appoints, it is requested that a written summary outlining the goals, achievements, and initiatives of this committee, in other words, the COA in our case, be submitted to the Board of Selectmen along with the information about any resources that may be needed to assist with these goals, i.e. training, funding, etc. And then it is also requested that this committee reorganize and include in its reports the names of the most recently appointed chairman, vice chairman, clerk and/or secretary, etc. Therefore, I'm looking at this, and we had until, it says in here, August 1st. Well, we didn't even have a meeting, and we didn't have any goals set for next year. So, hence, your develop COA goals for 2019, 2020 on your agenda. But it's also great because we now have some requests as far as what we should be doing, and so it just all comes together beautifully, in my opinion. So, But after we do set goals today, I did respond to the selectmen about who are the new officers, et cetera, and asked for their leniency in our being late with our response, because we were meeting today and I get it to them after this meeting, so. But that's the new procedure in an effort for them to, you know, keep track of things, and I think it also goes on, and it does say down here that, you know, the clerk is responsible to do this. Appointed members who miss more than 5 meetings in a calendar year may be asked to resign their position. So there's a lot of information that they have shared with new people coming on board, which might help. So.
Now, say that again. I do not understand, because I thought we could not require a person to resign.
It says, appointed members who miss more than 5 meetings in a calendar year may be asked to resign their position.
Who are they saying that? The board?
The
Our
selectman,
board?
no,
Or
the selectman is saying it to any new board member that comes on board, on any board in town.
So this is now a new ruling by them.
It says may. It doesn't say will. It's not, you know, but it's putting it out there. You're expected to be an active board person. That's how I take it.
Setting expectations.
Setting expectations, right.
And it's also in the new rules and regulations that we voted on.
We
Or
did.
you voted on.
Well, it's always been a frustration, because
Right.
you could not ask a member of the board to resign. Or you could not tell them they had to resign. And so we went for months and months and months with a minus a board member. I didn't know whether they had resolved that. It just sounds as though they put in a stopgap.
Well, it's a
They
step.
being you.
Right, I know.
Now, it's a step in the right direction to, you know, really, to, I think, set the expectation that people
That's
are
the
going to be.
first step, right?
Yes.
You also
So-
have to write a letter to them telling you accept the position, which you never had to do before.
Oh, okay.
Now, I didn't read that part. I didn't want to take up all the time doing that, but I'm looking for my
So I
own
wrote
list.
them a nice long letter.
Good job.
All right. So having said all of that, let's go to work on setting some goals. And in your packet, there's a couple of sheets that I printed off from, I Googled writing goals, because it's been a long time since I've written measurable, functional goals, and I thought I need a little crash course again. And Liz, Patty, and I have wrestled with trying to come up with some suggested goals to kick things off, make it easier today. And you have a list of what we came up with in your packet. So, keeping that in mind, I would ask you to take a quick look at that. Here we go.
I just got a little confused, because you put down the goal is a senior center, then you asked a couple of questions, and then you put down 1, 2, 3, 4. Is the goal to provide a senior center, to build a senior center, to create a senior center?
Well, that's the thing. That's why there's question marks here.
You just have seen, and the same way with affordable housing.
Well, goals are very general. The specifics come in the objectives, or the steps that you're going to achieve, that you take to get to whatever. We've been requested to get out there and get information out. In regard, we have 2 major areas of concern, 3 really, 2 big ones. Affordable housing for seniors and a senior center. So, first goal is the senior center. Now, the question is, what is the goal? Is it, question mark, bring to fruition a senior center in Littleton? Is that what we're working towards?
That sounds like a better goal than just senior center.
Well, that's what it says. Bring to fruition, that's the question.
A senior center in
In
Littleton.
Littleton, is that a goal?
Yes.
I think this is meant to spark,
Right.
Discussion.
Discussion.
yeah, the
And it
discussion.
just did.
Yeah.
Yes. So if you're having trouble interpreting it, Patty, we've spent a lot of time, I think, really, quite a bit
What
of
do we
time.
want?
Yeah.
The question is, are we looking to get a senior center in Littleton.
Yes.
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 So the question I put down here is, what is the goal? And I put question. Bring to fruition a senior center in Littleton.
Amen.
Is that our goal?
I
Do we
agree.
not want a senior center in Littleton?
Yes.
we do.
The question is yes or no.
I personally think that is what we're working
And
towards.
then the following things here is, how is the goal accomplished? Our objectives. What are the steps that we need to do to accomplish bringing this senior center to fruition? There's a number of steps.
And
These
now-
are just, I won't use the word, these are just ideas that popped in my mind, and Marge also contributed,
And Liz,
and Liz contributed to some of these ideas. One would be one we need seeing at the core group meeting we had. We were directed by the town manager and the selectmen that the director of COA would be leading focus groups, areas where awareness, whatever.
no, the COA group will be doing that, the director, it's,
So
that's
we
the
need
way
to
we're
support.
supporting, this is the way we're supporting the director
We're
now.
supporting the director in this initiative by assuming the responsibility by providing community focus groups for all residents of Littleton, because we need all the residents in town
On board.
to support this goal of bringing this to fruition. Another thing, in order to get this information, we need to gather all this information from the various stakeholders, and that would include, what is the vision of this center? What are the needs and wants for this center for the seniors in Littleton? We talked earlier about this research, this municipal gift fund options, which Liz has already talked about a little bit, to receive donations for the COA. That's separate and apart from the Friends of Littleton doing all their fundraising. So we're working in conjunction with each other.
It's very similar to having a fund, in my perception is anyway, I could be wrong. But we have a gift fund when, last June, we voted, a donation was made from the Morrison Fund, and it gets put into a separate fund. It's not put into her budget, correct? It's put into a separate town fund. And then we vote on whether we recommend to the selectmen that it be designated for the TRED fund or for whatever. So
So similar to
it would be
that.
similar. The money would be targeted and put into a separate town fund. If somebody makes a donation like they do, like the Morrison Fund does or something like that.
So we obtain all this information from the stakeholders, and then we have to begin conducting these community-focused informational sessions for all the town residents. And we want to plan them during the day, during the evenings, on weekends, so as to reach the whole town of residents. To seek and ensure approval that we get everybody on board with this senior center, including the young people, the 40s, the 50s, who are approaching the age that we all are, or some of us are. This may involve going to groups and organizations in town, and it's proven that the best results come as a result of taking the message on the road. So, objective sessions will be offered, but we have all these steps to do. Now, the time frame is from now until June 20. We have a lot of work to do. So when we met and we talked about this, and I got my little brain to work, this is how I tried to write it out, and Marge and Liz, and we're all putting it all together and sticking it on paper.
It's a beginning for you, and we want
It kind of
input.
tells you a story. By next June, maybe sooner, if we get to work on meeting with the stakeholders, we could have a lot of informational sessions maybe sooner.
And actually, you could tease it down, in my mind, because we have to figure out how we're going to accomplish this. If we're not, in my mind, not having subcommittees, we need to work together as a board. There's 9 of us. So we're going to be doing information sessions. If there's 3 board members present at one session, to me, that's plenty. We don't want to have a quorum there anyway, because you don't want to have a meeting issue. So, or 2 board members even, possibly. So we could be holding, it's not a huge burden on us, in my mind, to do 1 a month, somehow. And sometimes, it might be a weekend, it could be at night, it could be, somebody made a great suggestion, football games are coming up, and there's a big crowd there, and maybe you can make contact with people at football games. I'm not one to go to a lot of football games, but anyway. But there's other groups out there, so we need to do some work on figuring out groups, who to contact, how to, all of this stuff has to come together.
And while we're doing this, our friends over here are brainstorming fundraising.
Right. But
So we're becoming active instead of meeting like we were before, and we're doing a lot of talking, but we're not doing a lot of accomplishing. This should work better.
Bob's had his hand up.
Yeah,
But-
I think this is fine. I like the idea of bring to fruition a senior center in Littleton, and then the 1, the 2, the 3, and the 4, without the objective sessions will be offered, and it is a proven response. That's not part of the goal. What I'm wondering is, if we're going to hold these sessions, we need to know what we're talking about to some extent, and there is no definition of what a senior center, or what we're planning for a senior center, and whether that should be a part of the goal or not be a part of the goal. I'm just asking the question. I'm not.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry.
Speak, please,
So
Cindy.
Liz's PowerPoint that she put on for the last town meeting is, in my opinion, the perfect guideline for information to get out there. I don't think that you necessarily need to dive into the specifics of what the senior center is
Okay.
going to look like. I think it's just more of getting the information out about the needs of the seniors in Littleton. People don't understand the population growth. A lot of people don't know what the COA does. They have no
Still-
idea.
That's right.
Of the population that is served by the COA. So in my opinion, that PowerPoint presentation has all the information that you could utilize now, because we don't know what the senior center looks like yet, right? So we can't talk about it. But we can talk about the needs of the senior population. And I know that Liz has all of that information. And the only other suggestion that I would have as far as going out and talking to people, like look at the group here before you, there's 9 of you, right? Each one of you has your own wheelhouse, your own groups, your own church, your own other organizations that you might be involved with. If you focus on those groups just to start with, and kind of divide and conquer and say, oh, the 2 of us, we're involved in that group already, so we're gonna go talk to them, it's a familiar audience. And then you use Liz's PowerPoint as a guide for the information that you're gonna share. I think that's a great way to start in getting more word out into the community.
And she already has some handouts put together.
Yeah,
Don't
okay.
She does, that are appropriate.
Print it all out with the notes, get more brochures.
And one person can help another, Yes, Anita.
How important is it while we're out looking and talking about a senior center that we include the fact that it's also for elder services? And, because we talk about people that are not elderly that also are served. And that, to me, is another way of bringing in a whole different age group of people that might be in need, that aren't even aware that they can come to you for services or direction on where to go for services.
I'm pretty sure in my PowerPoint I touch on
There was
how
a
we-
little bit of that, yeah.
all the populations that we serve and how many people we reach, under 60, over 60. And if there's not enough of that in there, I can add some more to make sure we're connecting with various audiences so that they can see themselves being served by us and needing us.
Right, exactly.
I think that's very important. I'm glad you brought that up, because it is very confusing to people. But they need to understand that it is the Department of Elder and Human Services. And therefore, you know, it is a larger concern for the whole town, because it is appropriate, it's something that,
And the ways that those things can be met is through a senior center.
well,
Or at
obviously.
least partially through a senior center.
Yeah, well, because, I mean, look at how many people need to come in, and people come in to see Nicole, and,
Right. I mean, we don't turn anyone away, so
No.
everyone out there in the community can use us, and they just don't know it yet. So we have to reach all those people to tell them that.
And I didn't know that. In starting to work on St. Vincent de Paul, I had clients that were under like 45 or 50. And in talking to Nicole and Liz, I realized I could send them
mhm,
here for help.
Right.
And I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
good
So
example.
that's a good example
Yep.
for, you know, the rest of the citizens need to know.
So in theory, this should be an easy sell to people. We help everybody.
Yeah,
Exactly.
in theory.
In theory,
Yeah.
we can reach everybody
Yeah.
on some level.
Nancy, yes?
When the COA and the Friends were meeting as a group once a month or every other month, this was discussed, of course you weren't there, but it was made very clear that the Elder and Human Services would always be included wherever we went for a senior center. It would always be included.
So it is, and it's an important piece that has to be spoken and talked about. You're right, absolutely right, good point. Yes, Sharon?
And then just changing the subject a little bit, but getting back to what Patty was talking about, you know, what do we want in a senior center? And a year ago, you did that beautiful survey and listed everything that we all wanted in a COA. So I think our goals are set as to what we're looking for.
That's a great preliminary.
It
you
was.
know, and all it has to do is, you know, really be professionally worked out by architects or whoever's gonna do it. So we have a baseline
We have a
of
base,
what
we
we
have a great
want.
start.
But this is important right now to make it known. And that's like step 2. I mean, it's not that we don't know what we want. We do know what we want. But we gotta hit this one first. This is what I think we're missing right now.
Definitely. Yes, Nancy?
And going back, I might have to meet with Liz privately. I'm concerned that the Friends and the COA might be in conflict when we do our funding, because we were planning on going out to businesses, and you're going out to businesses.
Oh, I'm
No,
not,
no,
I'm not
we're
doing
not.
anything yet. It was just an idea.
Okay.
Just an idea. But I won't obviously do any sort of fundraising,
No, I
especially
know.
without discussing with the friends or selectmen or
Now,
having
even
full
if it's
approval.
going into a gift fund, you
Mhm.
know, that's, you know, it's a good idea, but I don't wanna repeat what you're doing and have the businesses going, oh, wow.
No, but-
Oh, we won't.
We've been-
No.
That won't happen.
You
So-
want to say something?
Yeah, so some people might just say, especially when you're talking to people, can I just make a donation?
Right.
Can I just write a check? So if you had the gift fund, that would be something that you could utilize that for, as opposed to actively soliciting. Because you don't, like you said, you don't want to step on each other's
No.
toes, and you can't, you're limited with that anyways.
If we were out talking to a group and somebody said, can I just write a check? Are we allowed to take that because we're not allowed to fundraise?
You
Can
can
we
tell
take
them
the
where,
check?
you can tell them where to send it to.
Can tell them where to send
Yeah.
it.
Donations can be accepted by the COA.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the phrase, the way you need, I think, need to phrase it. Donations can be accepted by the COA, they need to be specified for the senior center.
Yeah.
Designated for the senior center. You know, type of thing, because we're not to talk about raising, we're not here giving you information with the intent of raising money, but if somebody walks up and says it, you know, and some people, who knows, they can also, you can say, or you can write a check and send it to the Friends. They run a fundraise too. So it's up, some people prefer to do it one way or another.
I think we're getting into the logistics
So,
of how these things should
okay.
will be done. I think we need to vote on the goal, and I think this has been very well written.
So,
If you want, I'll move that we accept the goal and the 4 points and the time frame, which would be, what are the steps, bring up to fruition a senior center in Littleton. that's the stated goal. 1, 2, 3, and 4 would be the 4 things that we will do, and the mechanics of that will come later. The only thing is we'd leave off the parentheses and the objective.
Right.
And then the time frame we would state as for the time frame of the day would be September 2019 to June 2020.
Right, I mean, we might accomplish what we want, you know, but I could see it becoming a year-long goal where we're just going to continue, you know, and we might have to put together a different presentation, depending, where you have to feel your way with it.
So I would move that that be the goal for the senior center.
Any further discussion? Any other thoughts or comments or anything, other ideas? Because this was meant to be,
Is this going to be put on LCTV also? More up to, now that we are more up to date and focused, is there gonna be an interview again with LCTV?
yeah, that's another idea that maybe we can do and talk about it.
I could do my presentation again just to be played on LCTV.
You're now getting into details here.
Right.
Well, let's not get bogged down into
No,
the.
let's just worry about the goals now. Because then we have, as I said in the beginning, we have that's a big issue, the senior center. And we really need to be doing work on that. And then the affordable housing for seniors is another big issue. And so we racked our brains on that and we thought, now, you know, that's affordable housing, people are working on it, but it's like, that's going to be taking a while to accomplish. But what can we do this year? So you have down here, affordable housing for seniors. Again, what's the goal? Is it?
I have proposed a motion for the
Oh, the senior center. I'm sorry, Bob, you
We
did.
haven't,
You're right.
We need a second and we need a vote.
You're right, and I apologize to you. I got a little taken away there, so. We do have a motion on the floor
To accept the goals.
to accept the goals for a senior center as they are written, with a few things that, you know, objective sessions will be offered, et cetera, deleted. But the main concept of the goals, as they're written, be adopted by this board for the next year.
I second the motion.
All right, I have a motion, and it's been moved and seconded. Thank you. Any further discussion now? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? It's unanimous.
That's goal 1.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Bob, and I apologize. Now I'm going to go on to affordable housing. So, again, what is the goal under affordable housing? We need to be doing something to keep helping this move ahead and to accomplish something as far as affordable housing. So, is the goal, suggestion, to promote and support all affordable housing initiatives?
I made it simple. That's what I tried to do.
That's pretty broad, actually, all the
Well, it's
initiatives.
broad, but I mean, it's simple, you know, because it's coming from other places, not just us.
Right,
Right.
and that's true, and we have very little control over, you know,
And I'm
the
just
planning
saying,
board and things of that nature. However,
I'm just saying, as the Council of Aging, it's our job, I think our responsibility to support any initiative
I agree.
that's out
Right.
there. And I thought back a couple of years ago, we were supporting the town initiative to change the zoning laws, because I went to so many planning board meetings, practically for 2 years, to get those zoning laws changed, that I was like a fixture down there, driving some of those planning board members crazy, that, you know, it was important to do this. And then, we did get a few initiatives on building that we're still waiting for them to come to fruition, but it's important for us to have representation, and that's what I tried to list in number 1. You know, ensure our representation at planning boards, selectmen, and other town boards that advocate for senior housing and support for any senior housing projects. Now, I still go to planning board meetings and then bring an update to the board at our meetings from forget her name now.
Marin?
Leaves me.
Marin?
Yeah.
Marin, yeah.
I still bring those.
Right, you do.
So that would continue.
Yep.
And then you put in the following statement, which you can address.
The following one, are you talking about number 2?
The minimum or maximum.
Right. I put in the objective only because I felt it would be good. I believe that we need to have, when there is affordable housing issues, sometimes the planning board meetings have nothing to do with affordable housing. But I try to remember to check their agendas all the time. But it is very important that we have maybe two board members or 3 board members present. We don't need everybody there, that's for sure. But
Well, you get into a problem if there are too many, we have a quorum.
that's right,
Yes.
and that is true. We don't want, 2 or 3 is fine. And as a matter of fact, that's why let me just leave it at that. That's why I threw in a minimum of 1 or a maximum of 3 board members will attend meetings when agendas indicate discussion regarding affordable housing for seniors. So I just think that we really need visibility. We need visibility and just to get out there because it reminds them. And you don't know what kind of an impact that has. I don't know, maybe as a selectman woman, as you look out at people and you see seniors there, I'm sure it triggers something.
Oh, it definitely does.
Yeah, so, yes, Bob?
David, did you have your hand up before?
Nope.
Okay. The only thing I would question is in the if using the statement for the goal to promote and support all affordable housing initiatives, that's very broad. I would leave out the all because you don't know whether you're going to get some kind of an affordable housing initiative which we would not support because it's so way out. I just leave the word all out.
That's
just a personal opinion.
That's a good point, though. I mean, to promote and support affordable housing initiatives, it doesn't say whether it's, it could be one that we...
And should the objectives be a part of the goal, or would that be something that we as a board would put in afterwards?
Well,
Cindy?
So I have a few thoughts on this. So I'm on the Littleton Station Working Group. That's the Taylor Foster Street area. And we're looking to redevelop that into town with housing, mixed use, that sort of thing. A lot of discussion is surrounding what do the seniors want for housing? A lot of people say, oh, they don't want to downsize, they don't want to leave their houses, they're not going to do that, they're not going to sell their home they've lived in for, X amount of years and downsize to a smaller home. Or, do they want to live in an apartment? Do they want to live in a condo? And it's funny to hear other people speak because it's like they're making a decision for you, which I just find very interesting because I don't think there's one answer. Honestly, I think it all depends on the person, and you can't really say, seniors only want to, they only want to downsize to an apartment. Well, that's not a fair statement because some might want to downsize to a smaller little cottage-style home. So I'm just trying to, I think, just maybe being more vocal and saying, there isn't one specific type of housing that you're looking for, but maybe, you prefer minimal upkeep and that amenities and that sort of thing. But I think the bottom line is you want it to be affordable, right? Mm-hmm. Because in a lot of instances that we've seen affordability come to Littleton, it's basically you're trading apples for apples.
Yeah, right.
It might be affordable for someone from Concord or Lexington who's downsizing and they want to come to Littleton, but it's not affordable for people who already live here.
No.
And I think that's one of the big things that we need to emphasize with developers, with the planning board, especially what I really am trying to work on, I just need to devote more time to it, is really saying to the planning board, this is what we need as far as numbers go. This is how many people in town would benefit from affordable housing. We know what the numbers are for subsidized housing for seniors. We have those figures through the Housing Authority, thank you. So we have a lot of those statistics already, but just really we have a huge senior population, and I think just getting that information to the planning board and conveying that to the developers when they come to the table to talk to us, instead of being reactive in them saying, okay, this is what I'd like to do, saying, well, this is what we really need, this is what's gonna work for our town. And as far as amenities, you know, do you wanna go move to like a community development that has a clubhouse, that has, you know, a workout area or walking trails and things like that? Is that what you're looking for in housing? Because we believe that, but it'd be better if it came from the seniors themselves about what exactly they're looking for.
Well, I think a lot of times, they don't know. They don't know that it can be fun to be living in a small community. Because I have friends that have moved to some of these over 55, and they're having a wonderful time. They've got programs, they've got activities, and they've made new friends, and they've done all this stuff. And I think a lot of people get really scared because they think, I'm going to be in this apartment and I don't know anybody and nobody's going to be social with me. You know what I mean? Because that can happen in apartments, but if you have the kind of place that would be open to these people, I bet they'd thrive in it. A lot of them would thrive, you know, getting out there.
One of the issues with Littleton is a comment you made, coming to Littleton,
From Concord.
downsizing and affordable, coming from
Concord and Lexington.
Concord and Lexington.
east of 128. But coming into the people here or coming elsewhere here, it's not affordable. And I have said that until I'm blue in the face. And as you know, because you've been at the meetings, the contractors can't afford to build here what's really affordable
Right.
for the people here. That's the problem
That's the
that
problem.
we encounter here.
That's right.
And a lot of people can attest to that. And that's an issue that we really cannot address.
I was gonna say, can we address it? There's nothing in this goal that states what affordable housing is. And when I hear what they tell me the state says is affordable housing and so what, it's a joke. Because I'm not even in affordable housing down on the cheap part of town on Goldsmith Street. Love my house, but it's, you know, it's ridiculous.
I mean, I appreciate the affordable housing initiatives, but when you're building out on Cricket Lane and they're calling it affordable, and it's $525,000, that's not affordable.
So, right, so one of the things that I will add through we started the Affordable Housing Trust. And the other thing that I've learned through the Mass Housing Partnership, Marin's been really great about bringing in different consultants to come in. If we partner with a nonprofit builder through the Mass Housing Partnership, we can build affordable housing, real
Yes, we
affordable
can.
housing. But we need to make those connections and have those conversations and those initiatives. And I have one developer already that I met for coffee, and he was talking about a development that he wanted to build. Some of it will be market rate, some of it will be high-end, that's where they make their money.
Yes.
But the other piece of it that I really liked with his development was, there was 3 multi-unit type buildings that he wanted to partner with an affordable builder through the Mass Housing Partnership. And to me, I just thought that was wonderful, because that's how we're gonna get the affordability.
It's exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting, so I don't know there was a couple other builders that were around there, but if we go to a developer and say, this is what we want you to do, this is what we're looking for in town, that's how we're gonna get our affordability, because
Right.
some of them don't realize that they can utilize Mass Housing Partnerships, even developers themselves. But there has to be a balance, but I think we can get there, we just need to have more conversations about it. And honestly, we know what we want, right?
We do.
I look at it as the cards, we're holding the cards, because either you're gonna build what we need for our community or you're not. And it's really having those conversations more so with the planning board and just getting that out there. I fully appreciate developers, and I've said to them right off the bat, I understand the investment that they put forward and that they need to make their profit, but really, we need to do what's best for our community as a whole.
And especially with the funds that we're going to get from builders to put into that endowment fund or whatever they're calling it.
Right.
And we're gonna do the building. Then we need to find someone who will, as you said, a nonprofit builder who could actually give us affordable housing. Something that our seniors can afford to downsize and get into and have a reasonable amount. That's the key. But it doesn't need to be in here, in that detail, but I think it's important.
No, but just along that thought process.
Yeah,
so you
that's
say,
gonna be
what can-
part of what that affordable
Right,
housing goal is
right.
gonna have to deal with.
Exactly, and I think it's important too, to get the word out there that what's been brought before us and considered affordable is not working for seniors in
Right.
Littleton. And I think it's important to get that message to the people that it all stops with the planning board, right? That's the final stop, so just getting that message more clearly to them, I think would be helpful.
So, I mean, actually,
What are the 18 slots?
well, that's number 2. The 18 slots are, this is the, Cindy actually is the chair of and Maureen is your representative on the Affordable Housing Trust. And they've put together this voucher program. And so this goal is Liz and Nicole are working on, correct me, why don't you explain it?
Yeah.
You can do a better job at it.
I was going to
Yeah.
explain this more in my director's report,
But
but
go
through the
ahead.
Affordable Housing Trust, we've come up with a rental voucher program to make renting in Littleton affordable for people. So what it does, it takes CPC funds, and through a process of vetting applications, we'll have 18 slots to give people a cash stipend directly to their landlord to be able to help them afford to rent in Littleton while they work with us on a 3-year maximum housing plan,
Okay.
to get them
That's
off of
fine. I just,
assistance.
No.
I mean, the objective, I'm not sure the objective should be in the goal. They would be part of what the goal would deal with, and I think they're very good, but I don't think when you're writing a goal, you're not writing it with objectives.
Well, the objective is a step to get there, and how are you
Yes.
gonna measure, how are you gonna
I
measure
understand
whether
that.
you've achieved your goal, that's all. So, but that, we need to help Liz get the word out about that too, when they're ready to get the word out. So, and we know that's coming up this year. So that seemed like a reasonable goal to put down under affordable housing also for this year for us.
Does that have anything to do with like Foxborough does?
Just like that.
It's just like the Foxborough one, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
In the
Interest of time?
view of time,
Yes.
I would move that we accept the affordable housing goal to promote and support affordable housing initiatives, leaving out all.
Second.
That 1 and 2, the goals be stated, the objectives be left off, and then would be a part of ensuing work, and the time frame be August through June 2020.
We have a motion on the floor to accept the goal to promote and support affordable housing initiatives, both 1 and 2, with the objectives as stated on your paper left off, but there as a way of
Not
measuring.
forgotten, just not
Right,
put as
it's a
part
way
the
of
goal.
measuring progress. And that the time frame would be the year, the next year. Any further discussion on that motion? Oh, did anyone second it? David did. Thank you, David. Any further discussion on that motion? All those in favor then?
Aye.
And opposed, abstentions, unanimous. Thank you all. Before we leave that one subject, I just want to raise this, because there is a planning board meeting this Thursday night, and there is, at 7:10, they're talking about Weber Village, and at 7:20, Jones Meadow. So we need representation
What are
there.
they,
Pardon me?
what are those?
Weber Village is King Street,
Okay, yeah.
and Jones Meadow is Cricket Lane.
So what time is that planning board meeting?
I don't know what time it starts. I know on their agenda, they're planning on discussing Weber Village at 7:10. Their meeting starts at either 6:30 or 7.
Give or take a half an hour.
I think it starts at 7, yeah.
7, maybe. And 7:20 Jones Meadow. And we do need to have 1 or 2 people there.
Where is Jones Meadow again?
Cricket Lane.
That's Cricket Lane.
Okay.
So they've been working on that, but we need to have somebody there. And I'm scheduled to be doing the Thursday. How late does that go?
8.
That's what I thought. So,
I thought it was 7, no?
I think that was just May, that ended at 7.
I have to check with my wife, but I could probably do it.
are you going to
I'll
be here in
probably
town?
try to go.
You going to be here?
I'm
this
gonna be
Sunday?
till Monday.
Oh, great. Okay. So question Bob and Mary.
Yeah, I'm going to try,
Thank you kindly.
but I am going to try to go to Third Thursday too.
Well, you can come, but you don't have to stay till it's over.
That's the
No, I
planning
mean,
board?
the one last
Planning
month
board.
was rather plain. You know, they didn't have all the vendors and things.
Okay, and then would you bring information back to the board, please? And whenever you're out, bring information back to the board. All right. Okay, quickly, COA rules and regulations, I asked David if we could add to, how do we want to phrase the goal? To review and revise if necessary.
Yeah. So I'm gonna make a motion right now that we accept 3. We don't need
Review,
to-
and then we will, it's included, obviously, because okay, we'll just accept. The goal is to review annually and update COA rules and regulations.
Second.
Thank
Wait a
you.
minute. And then the 2, 1 and 2?
1 and 2, yes, board members may request a review of a portion of the rules and regs at any time during the year when it is perceived that a change may be needed. And then otherwise, the annual review will be done, et cetera, in May for the June meeting, so, by the
I
chair.
assume that from August to June 20th.
Right, it's a year
Timeframe.
timeframe.
I would second it.
It's been moved and seconded that we have a goal of reviewing annually and updating the COA rules and regulations.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right.
I believe there's any abstentions? No, and no negative votes? No no's. Okay, thank you. Cindy,
I know, so how are we gonna do this?
do you have a presentation?
I
you need to
do,
plug
but
in?
how do
I think you can plug in over here. Bob knows. Pinch Bob.
I have
Can
no
she,
idea.
can Cindy plug in over here?
Yeah, she can plug in over there, she can plug in over here. You know.
Okay.
And will it go up on?
Oh, to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is- what have you
Here
got?
comes help right now.
Oh, I forgot to shut it off. It's 3 o'clock.
I don't know how this works.
I'm gonna just, I can move. I'll switch seats. Stack things here.
You can probably sit like there.
Over here?
I can, here, Cindy, you can be here.
Oh gee, are we getting fancy?
Oh, I could be here.
Oh, we get along good.
Oh.
I'm going.
I don't know. I don't know where this goes.
Amber, help.
Come back again.
Come back, Amber.
There we go. Yep.
This one. I know. This one. It's in the follow the goals and regulations. That won't happen. Oh dear.
Can we shut the lights off, maybe?
Yeah. Can I borrow this, Liz, for a mouse pad?
Oh, yeah. They did say the TV could move if you can't see it. That's better.
Oh.
I can see it. Thought I'd see it.
My mouse to work.
Can that be enlarged at all? No?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get my wireless mouse to work.
Do you want to try setting it up with this?
It's actually
throw
the
the
mouse
cookies.
You got
itself.
it.
Just flick it. Thank you. Don't think
Nobody's gonna catch it.
Why are you doing this? Hold on. How do I do full screen? I want a full screen, I don't know how to do that.
4:3 ratio.
Yeah.
Do you remember how to do the 4:3
It
ratio?
really goes.
Yeah, where is it?
She wants a cookie. Who wants a cookie? Somebody want a cookie?
Come on.
We take a break.
Get away from me, you see.
I forget how to get it to go full
Yeah,
to
they're gonna go
window.
by me.
That work. Sorry. Oh, wait, it's good up there, right? All right, as long as it's good up there. Okay, so affordable housing for Littleton. This is from the Affordable Housing Trust. To acquire, create, preserve, and support affordable housing for the benefit of low and moderate income households in the town of Littleton. Oh man, why aren't you doing this for me? I apologize, hold on. Why aren't you making? Isn't it working up there?
Change the ratio if you want that.
Yeah, you got it?
Yeah, go to the design tab in the toolbar.
Okay.
Select slide size near the far right end.
And there we go.
4:3. Yep.
You got it.
Do I do maximize or?
Select standard 4:3 ratio.
Alright.
And then you should be able to start your search.
That's fine. Now you can just use your arrow to hit each one as you want to go to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're good.
Okay. I want to change up there.
You got a full screen.
Why isn't it changing up there though? It's weird.
What if you did on your keyboard? Is it not recognizing the mouse?
Huh. Okay, I don't know why it's not changing up on the screen.
Can you reduce it from full screen?
I don't think that matters.
Well, it'll give you the thing on the side, then you can click on each one of the.
All you need is get off. Start slideshow.
All right. So if I go to home.
Go to the slideshow there.
It's, you know what, I'm gonna get out of this whole thing for a second. Cancel. And then,
Dave, when did Jeff leave?
it's like the whole thing's.
When did
not
Jeff
coming
leave?
Yesterday morning. about
Yesterday.
9.
up. Oi.
His flight was at 11:30.
hold on one second.
You close it, don't save. When you hit cancel.
Yeah, don't save.
And then reopen.
There we go. All right, good. We're just gonna do it this way. Okay, so the town of Littleton, this is from the UMass Center for Public Policy. Our current population is 9,806 residents. Our average median household income is $107,800. Per capita income is $47,973. Presently, there's 9,463 jobs in Littleton. 88% of our housing units are single-family unit buildings. 90% are owner-occupied. 12% of the units are multi-unit buildings. 10% are renter-occupied. The median home sales price in Littleton is $451,000. So the master plan update that we created, that was improved in November of 2017, had under equitable development, ensure Littleton has opportunities for residents of all ages, backgrounds, and incomes to have suitable, good quality housing, and to provide and maintain a diverse mix of housing options so that existing residents are not priced out as the town continues to grow and housing values increase. So this is the challenge. How do we attract and retain residents of all ages to ensure economic and cultural vitality? And how do we meet the needs of our growing population of seniors with services and affordable housing options? 34.6% of Littleton's population is over the age of 55. As adults continue to age and head into retirement, will they stay in the community? Do they want to downsize, and are there options for downsizing in our community? Will young people suddenly move in with these units become available as seniors downsize? I think we know from living here in Littleton that there are no options to downsize that currently in our community, and there's just nowhere for seniors to go. It's really unfortunate because many are moving out of town. The other issue with this, the inability for seniors to downsize and move out, is that we have the age distribution in Littleton. So if you see, we're to provide young adults with the option to continue to live in Littleton and have a range of housing for people who want to continue to reside here, work here, and become Littleton residents. The other thing that's happening in Littleton is we're having a decline in the population of ages 20 through 34. And this is significant because this is our workforce. So as Littleton has a large senior population, as you know, and as baby boomers continue to age and retire, Littleton will have a high proportion of residents who are not in the workforce. So what kind of housing do we need for this changing demographic for newcomers to maintain a strong and local workforce? And this is important because of the millennial population. The senior population is huge, right? We know that. But coming up behind them is the millennial population, our workforce population. So as you saw earlier, we have a decline in that age group 20 through 34 in Littleton. So the question is, do young adults not want to live here? Can they afford to? And how is this going to affect our workforce? So we have millennials and the senior sell-off, the catch-22. Littleton's housing stock is out of balance, and the large stock of single-family homes currently occupied by senior citizens represents a potential opportunity to attract young adults and families to our community. However, making this transition will require that seniors have attractive, affordable housing alternatives to their current housing, which is something we just talked about a few minutes ago, right? You don't want to trade apples for apples. You want to be able to maximize your benefit. Your house is your biggest investment, right? Mm-hmm. And then have somewhere affordable where you can downsize and go to in your community, so you can stay in the community, you can stay with your friends. But this will also offer up an opportunity for younger families who want to move into Littleton who want to purchase a home. So if we look at the housing production plan, I thought this was really interesting, changes in householders. Age groups 25 through 39 and 60 plus prefer the same type of housing options. They want something that's affordable, minimal upkeep and maintenance, amenities, common areas and services. Seniors like the camaraderie, younger adults like the convenience. So we have an unbalanced housing stock, as we already talked about, and you can see from this chart, look at the number of single-family homes that are built in Littleton compared to the number of multi-unit dwellings. It is incredibly out of balance. Littleton currently offers very few housing choices outside of traditional single-family units. And again, this is the type of housing that is preferred by this age group, 25 to 34, and it's also a great option for seniors to downsize. And these age groups are mostly affected by the lack of housing options in Littleton. And as you can see, we have a high proportion compared to the state average of homeowners compared to renters. This is the state average on the right-hand side here, and this is Littleton. So part of the master plan update called for having a range of housing for senior citizens, families, and young people entering the workforce to help keep Littleton a thriving town and also promote the health and well-being of the community as a whole. So this came to light. I found this actually last week. Massachusetts ranks number 3 as the third most expensive state for rental housing in the country.
Wow.
We surpassed New York, Washington, and even Hawaii.
That's crazy.
Isn't that insane?
That's crazy.
Yep. So what it said in this article was that the fair housing rent for a 2-bedroom apartment or house with utilities in Massachusetts is $1,758, okay? You can't get a 2-bedroom for that in Littleton.
No, you can't.
The fair market rent for a 2-bedroom apartment with utilities in Littleton on average is $2,000 a month. House rentals cost in excess of $2,300 a month. Some of the house rentals cost as much as a mortgage payment. So that to me was very telling. So who can afford to live in Littleton?
Nobody.
Nobody.
Not many of us.
Massachusetts residents would need to earn $33.81 an hour, or $70,333 annually to afford the fair market rent of a 2-bedroom home or apartment. And that was the state average, remember, right? So that wasn't even considering Littleton. So 73.5% of the renters in Littleton earn less than that $70,333 annually. And 26.5% of the homeowners in Littleton earn less than that amount. So what defines affordable housing? Rental and owner-occupied homes. The area median income in Littleton is the benchmark. So the area median income in Littleton is $107,800. If you earn, if 30%, if 30% or less of your household's income is spent on housing, then you're okay, but if 30% or more is spent on housing, then you're considered to be cost burden. I don't know if I explained that right. Yeah, here it is. A household, I think I sent it backwards. So a household that spends more than 30% of their income on housing are considered to be cost burden. And when that number reaches 50%, then the household is considered to be severely cost burden. So these are the renter households in Littleton that are cost burden. As you can see, 50% are not cost burden, but then there's this 15% that are cost burden, another 15% that are severely cost burden, and then this this other percentage couldn't be accounted for. And it looks like a majority of the owner households in Littleton are not cost burden, even though there is a small percentage there. So who else can afford to live in Littleton? The people we rely on every day. So these are, you know, our first responders, right? Our school teachers, our servers. A lot of our town employees can't afford to live here. It's amazing. So who else can't afford to live in Littleton anymore? Our seniors. So this is from the 2015 needs assessment. In 2015, nearly 1/3 of homeowners were age 60 or older. 31% of the residents who are age 65 or older live alone. Littleton's older households have substantially lower incomes on average than do younger households. And this is from 2015 again. For example, 38% of the households headed by adults over 65 report income of less than $25,000 a year, compared to just 8% of householders 45 through 64. And these were some of the reasons that seniors were finding Littleton to be not affordable. Living expenses, the cost of living keeps going up, but your income doesn't keep going up, right? Property tax increase, the cost to upkeep and maintain your home. You have to pay for trash removal, snow plowing, yard cleanup, right? Limited options for downsizing. I would say that there's really no options for downsizing. Concerns about developing a disability with mobility limitations. Could you still live in your home if you did develop a mobility limitation? Threats to independence and socialization resulting from limited transportation options, and need for home modifications to facilitate aging in place. So those were all housing concerns for seniors back in 2015. I'm gonna just go out on a limb and say that I don't think that they've changed that much.
Might have gotten worse.
Right? So, immediate needs for our community. As we realize we have an unbalanced housing stock, we need to balance our housing stock. We really need multi-unit dwellings in Littleton, and a lot of people are very afraid of apartments and condominiums and that type of development. But really, that's where we're going to get the affordability from. It's cheaper to build up than it is to build out. So that's one of the conversations that I've had with the planning board directly, just trying to get people to be more open-minded to that thought process, because it's different for Littleton. We don't really have a lot of multi-unit housings here. So we need to create multi-unit housing, but we need to do it where it makes sense. Personally, Jones Meadow wouldn't be a good spot for multi-unit housing, right, in the middle of a residential neighborhood. But if you focus on the Common, if you focus on Littleton Station down by Taylor Street and Foster Street in that area,
That's a great place up there.
it would just make more sense. It needs to be done where it makes sense and what's going to work for Littleton. We need to create options for seniors to downsize. We need to do.
Could I have
Yeah.
the families from Littleton on the wait list? Can you do that? Can you actually exclude people from out of town? Because what we
No.
found
We
later on,
can't.
earlier, is that
You can't.
people, we created something like Beaverbrook, not Beaverbrook,
Sardine Village? Oh.
yeah. And what ended up happening was people from out of town took all of the units.
Right. So one of the things that we can do is we have local preference that we can do, especially we can do it through the planning board, we can do it through the Affordable Housing Trust. So if we have a certain percentage of affordable units in a housing development, we can take a percentage of that number and have what we call local preference. We can do it with a lottery. So if you live in Littleton, if you work in Littleton,
That's good.
yeah, even if you don't live in Littleton, but your kids go to school in Littleton, you can have we can exercise local preference to give preference to people that already live here. And really, that's one of the goals that we want as the Board of Selectmen, but also I know the Planning Board does, and the Littleton Station Working Group, and the Affordable Housing Trust. We're very focused on utilizing that ability to help people that live here. We've created the rental voucher program that Liz talked about, and we need to create subsidized rental housing in Littleton. There are a lot of seniors on a waiting list for that. So that's definitely something that we're working on and we're cognizant of. So this next slide these are all affordable housing unit developments created through the Mass Housing Partnership, which I mentioned earlier, and those are very attractive. I think people get scared when they hear affordable housing, that it could be ugly, but something like this would fit perfectly in Littleton, and you don't even really know it's a multi-unit dwelling. So it'd be nice if we could see something like that created in our community. And that's just an example that I just put in there. We created the Littleton Affordable Housing Trust Fund, and this goes more into that. This was part of the master plan update. It was one of our goals from the master plan, and I'm happy to say that we did create the trust. It is on record now, it's official. So we do have an affordable housing trust fund, which is great, because I think we can do a lot with that. As Bob mentioned, we can have developers pay into that, and we can use that money to actually build our own affordable housing. But we can also, in the time being, we're using the rental voucher program to create some affordable housing. So this just goes into what is the Affordable Housing Trust. It's a public entity that was created under Mass General laws. We voted on it and approved it as a town in October 2017. The funds are held in a municipal account and managed by a municipal treasurer. And then it's led by the Board of Trustees, Bartlett Harvey, myself. Nina's on it as well as the town administrator. Mark Martinari is the clerk. He's also a member of the planning board. Maureen's on it, Angus Michaels and Millie McGovern. So everybody who sits on this board is actually governed through state statute. That's how we chose everybody. And so this just goes into funding sources and administrative costs. And then this is what we can do with the trust. We can accept and receive real property. We can purchase and retain real property. We can sell, lease, and convey personal property. We can sign deeds. We can employ advisors. We can borrow money. And we can manage and improve real property. So I'm really excited. I think there's a lot of opportunity with the Affordable Housing Trust to create some real affordable housing in Littleton. And the other thing that I need to look into more that we can do with the trust is, say a developer comes along and he wants to build a 200-unit, say just a condominium complex, right? We can use money from the Affordable Housing Trust to buy more affordable units to offset his costs. And then what we can do on top of that is we can then initiate the local preference component to that and make sure that it's people from our community are given first preference to that housing opportunity. And so this is just some of the other things, the rental voucher program, who that could help, and then homeowner assistance is another thing that we can do to help younger families buy a home in Littleton. We can offer up some closing costs, repurpose existing homes. This is something that we can do through the trust, which is something that would be really helpful to seniors, especially if someone wants to stay in their home and it needs to have handicapped accessible modifications made to it. We can pay for that through the Affordable Housing Trust. And this is local preference. So it's current residents, employees of the town, employees of a business based in town, and people who have children in our school system are who we can give the local preference to. And then this is what's happening around us, which I found interesting. I went to it was actually a town managers meeting in Westford. So Acton is building so much affordable housing, as you can see. Over 30% of their housing stock is multi-unit. Not that we want to be Acton or like Acton with that magnitude of development, but they're doing a lot of building over there. If you can see, 31 affordable units. They converted a formal high school into a housing development. They over at Powder Mill Square, 25% affordable rental units. And then, I don't know how they're doing this on Main Street, but 31 units, 100% affordable. I don't know how those numbers are working, but that was really interesting to me. And they have a new senior center in Acton. Mm-hmm. So then this is Chelmsford, same, they're just right along the lines of Littleton. By 2030, over 30% of their town will be over the age of 60. So they're doing all these housing developments there. And then Westford has not as large of a scale, but they're building a lot of new units. These are all multi-unit developments that are happening around us. So
I think it's really important that we convey to the planning board that we really need that type of housing in Littleton. I think it would benefit a lot of people. I think it could benefit the millennial population, but also the senior population, as we saw in our housing production plan. And this is just, I just threw this in here, this is homelessness in Massachusetts. These statistics to me are just heartbreaking. There's so many people in Littleton, or not in Littleton, in Massachusetts that don't have a home. And really, there's a major housing boom going on in this state, and people don't realize that. The population growth is so high that we just can't meet the demand. And what's happening that I read is now, so say a house goes up for sale and it's $450,000 and it's in Belmont. So that would be affordable to many people, right? But now it's the people with deeper pockets, the big money, they'll come in and they're bidding higher than the $450,000 to purchase the home, right? So what happens to the family that could afford the $450,000?
They're bumped.
They're bumped. So now they don't have any housing option, right? So this whole presentation to me is more of a holistic look at housing in general. But it really does affect our community and people in our community, especially with the millennial population. I have children at that age and their friends. They can't afford to live here. So what's going to happen to Littleton? You know, a big part of our heritage as a community is we're multi-generational families. People that grew up here want to stay here. Their kids, you know, want to grow up here. Then they raise their kids here. It really is a big part of the fabric of Littleton. I think we're really unique that way, and I'm just afraid that we're going to lose a big piece of who we are as a community if we don't create affordable housing, and we're going to lose our seniors. I know many who grew up here who moved out.
They're just gonna die, and then there's gonna be nothing, no heritage, no nothing.
We're going to right, and Littleton's based on tradition, right? We have a lot of traditions that have lasted generations. I'm just afraid we're going to lose such a big piece of who we are if we don't do something about this now. So I appreciate you inviting me, Dave, inviting me to show this presentation. I keep changing it because as I find out more information. But I hope it was helpful to you in some respects.
Thank you, Cindy.
So I just hope that you realize that it is on the forefront of the elected officials that we need to do something about this now. And I think there's a lot.
You're gonna make the planning board memorize this, right?
Right.
I don't understand though is how did Acton and Westford and Chelmsford get it approved and have those housing units built?
It's their
Zoning.
Zoning.
We
Little
changed our zoning.
Right. So one of the things that we're
Not to that
talking about
extent.
now is there's been some opposition in the past to multi-unit housing in Littleton.
A lot of opposition.
A lot of opposition, right?
Yeah.
So I think what's happening now is that people are becoming more accepting of that. It's really a need.
I agree.
I mean, we can't, it's the only way we're gonna really get affordability. We need to be open to it. And plus, someone actually brought up to me, they said, you know, think of water, this is kind of off, but think of water usage, right? How much it costs to water your lawn. And, you know, water's a resource. So now if we have a multi-unit housing complex, we're not really using as much water to maintain the lawns and things like that. So it preserves natural resources in some respects, but it also meets a need in the community. Because a lot of people don't want to maintain a home anymore. I was talking to someone, they said, I've got a 4-bedroom colonial with, 4 acres of land, and I don't want to live there anymore. I want to downsize, and there's nowhere to go.
Right.
So,
Did they ever produce a report on Judy Barrett's interview last spring? They interviewed a number of people for that project up on Foster Street.
They did.
never produce the report?
Actually, you know what, Patty, we had a presentation at the fire station. We had a separate presentation for that.
I didn't get a notice. I would have loved to, I
Yeah.
got interviewed. They, were asked, what do you want
Right.
out here? And I was interviewed at the same time a clerk was from the assessor's office. And her comment was, don't build any more 800,000 houses. We don't need them.
For sure.
Right.
Which I thought was fantastic.
Right.
Assessor's
That's all we
office.
need
We both talked about building condominiums.
Right.
Where the young people could work and catch the train to Boston.
Right.
People could downsize, like myself, into a condo.
Right.
Don't want to do property work or snow plowing or
Right,
whatever.
so so we actually did a presentation, she did a presentation at the fire station of what came from that discussion. We have another meeting next week, and anyone can come to those meetings, the working group meetings. So, to talk about that presentation, because it was very large scale, but it contained, townhouses, multi-unit housing, and it had little cottages. It had a variety of things, but it also had the amenities that we're really trying to see incorporated with any development. Like, I forget who here mentioned, people need a place to go and congregate and socialize. Oh,
Mary did.
Mary did. About work, but I think people need to hear stories like that, about your friend that moved into a place, a community like
It's
that.
beautiful. It's just gorgeous. And, they're all friendly and they go to lunch together and
But
It's-
David said the same thing when his mother
Yeah.
was living in Harvard.
people don't
I
stay
mean,
in there.
it's happening all around us.
Right.
It just makes me frustrated that we can't seem to get the people that need to be on board.
Right. Well, I think that that's changing, honestly, and so one of the things that we talked about with the working group is now we need to draft zoning changes for Littleton Station for that part of town, and I don't know how to do that. I mean, I guess that's time consuming. So they're trying to work on that and see if we can get something before the town, for town meeting in October, which would be wonderful, because then we have developers who are coming to us saying, what can we do with this land? Well, we can't really do anything till we change the zoning, so we need to change the zoning now.
You're talking about the top of Taylor Street and that whole
Yeah.
development up there.
Yeah.
Perfect.
They're
That
not
only-
collecting taxes on any of that property up there, so they could be getting money for the town.
Right.
If something was up there.
Right. And the other thing too to really focus on as well as town sewer, that's gonna be coming
Right.
up, I believe, in the fall. That's really important for the town, and I know people have mixed feelings about it, but if you think about the common area, and that could be a mixed-use development, that whole area. It doesn't need to be overdeveloped, but that would give housing options to people, could give housing options to seniors. There's certain large landowners in that area who are kind of waiting for that, because there are some housing that they would like to create in that area. It could really be a nice village.
Could be.
There's a lot of potential there.
And that's a key
The sewerage
village.
is key.
But the sewer is key
Yep.
for that part of town. So that's just something to keep in mind too, as more discussions about the sewer take place. That's another, you want to talk about housing, how can we support housing? You could support the sewer project. That would be a good way to support housing. And then also with any zoning changes, like Patty said, just, you can, or Marge said, you can sign up for e-alerts for the planning boards where they get you get their agenda emailed to you.
Yeah, I get that.
Do you get that? So that would be a good way to just keep track of, as
When
they
the meetings
progress
are
with the
coming.
zoning changes, and just let them know that you're supportive of it and the type of housing.
I don't know how you do it. Somebody did it for me, so help me on.
It's right
So-
on the town's website.
Is it?
It's right on the homepage. It says e-alerts, I believe. You just press on that button.
It says what?
E-alerts.
It's a little button right on the homepage.
HEALER?
No.
No,
E.
E.
The letter E.
Oh, okay.
Alerts.
Short for email alerts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then you just put in your information
And
and
you
your
get an email
address.
when the, it'll come up, you'll get an email saying there's a planning board meeting agenda and da-da, and then you know to go look.
So do they put in all the different boards?
No, you have-
meetings?
You pick which boards you would like
Okay.
to receive the notification from. Yeah.
Thank you for step one of our goal.
So, yes.
Yeah.
That's so informative. That's a wonderful
great.
presentation. It
Oh,
is.
thanks.
No, there's just so much going on. It's so hard to keep it all out there and together and to be aware of everything, so.
Well, I don't think people really realize, especially with the millennial population, I mean, that's our workforce. So, you know, that's what's gonna keep Littleton sustainable.
Hey,
And so, but they're related, the two age groups are so closely related, in my opinion, so we need to do something for both.
Especially that age group is the homemakers, the personal care attendants, the home health aides that help seniors stay in their own homes.
Right.
And there's a huge shortage of that right now.
Right. Yeah, people don't realize that. Our first responders, I was talking to the fire department, and a lot of their employees don't live in this area at all. They can't afford to, and that's across the board, the highway department. It's it's a universal problem for
oh,
our
it is.
town.
Our own kids can't, as you said.
Yeah.
My son would love to live here. I mean, he's paying for his kids to go to private school because the education where he lives is so bad. But you can't still afford to buy property in Littleton.
Right. So.
You know, it's a catch-22 for
Cindy,
them.
just one question about the
Sure.
Affordable Housing Trust.
Mhm.
All right, do they have startup money?
We do. We actually, at town meeting in May, yes, we received the money from the housing bucket through the
Okay.
CPC. We drained the bucket, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have startup money
Okay.
in that fund, yep.
Good.
And the plan is that as money comes in through the developers and whatnot, we're gonna put it back into the housing bucket, into the CPC, so that we get the matching benefit
Gotcha.
from the state, and then filter it back into the trust.
Awesome.
Question
Good
on
idea.
55 and over housing
Mhm.
area, like where I live in Mobile Home Park, that's 55 and over.
Mhm.
They're gonna have anything like that for just seniors, no kids involved?
You know, so many people have mentioned that would be an option, a really good option for affordable housing for seniors. So I mean, we could definitely look into that. It's just a matter of finding a developer that would be interested in creating that type of housing. So,
I want a little house.
A little tiny house, just a little, you know, the little tiny houses
do.
now?
Those are so
Just
cute.
have a little tiny house.
Right.
A development of all little tiny
Right.
houses.
I have a house
Just the
that you
right
would
size.
downsize to, so I'm gonna raise the price, but no, everybody wants it.
Well, you can sell your house for $451, it says right there in that report.
Sell it for more.
right.
We paid $16,200 for the house.
I paid $16,000 for mine too,
Gosh,
but that was 52 years
it's
ago.
amazing.
Mine was 58.
So,
Yeah.
It's a matter of time.
not today.
Yes, no, we,
Yeah.
I think so. We don't usually have meetings that last this long. New members, just an FYI, so. But I think I could, yes, Cindy, I'd like to thank Cindy really for, actually, well, I'm sure we will, and everything you've done, and Joe Knox has done, and yeah, other selectmen have done too, but I know you and Joe have been particularly involved and very actively supporting seniors, so.
Can
The other
we-
thing
can
We're
we-
grateful.
is if people wanted a PowerPoint, can you share the
Oh,
PowerPoint with
absolutely.
people?
Yeah. Yep, I can do that.
So Cindy's willing to share her PowerPoint presentation?
And
Okay.
it's actually on the town website as well.
I thought I'd seen it there.
Yeah, Myron put it on the town website.
So that's easy, you just have to go to the town website. All right, otherwise.
Thank you, Cindy.
Yes, thank you,
Yes,
Cindy.
Thank you very much.
It's wonderful seeing you. You want a cookie?
Or a brownie.
I do.
Or both.
You do meetings right.
That's because of Mary. We have our own personal baker. That's Mary Picard.
Ah.
She does a wonderful job keeping us fed. So,
I keep a lot of people fed in this
I
world.
do, oh, you do?
Thank you.
Now, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Could I just ask?
Don't we have to have a director's
Excuse me,
report and
David?
outreach
Oh.
coordinator's report?
I wanted to just move right on beyond
I know.
it, so I'm sorry.
Skip
I
over.
apologize again. I don't know where my head is today.
I'll just hit
Director's report.
I'll just hit the highlights. Nicole had to step out for an appointment, an outreach appointment, so I'm going to combine the most important parts of her outreach report. Biggest thing is we hired outreach coordinator. She starts on the 19th. Her name is Amy DeMichael. It looks like D. Michelle, but it's DeMichael. She's a certified dementia practitioner. She's LSW eligible, so she's almost licensed. She has 12 years experience in elder services and then additional years experience doing families, children, adolescents, inpatient psychiatric care, things like that. So she's got a whole gamut of experience and she's going to be fantastic. So she starts on Monday the 19th.
Of August.
Yes, so coming up. So I have to get to work cleaning out her office. We had 136 people sign up for the senior tax work-off program this year. It's 50 hours per person. It's a lot.
At what rate?
$12.75.
$12.75.
$12.75 an hour, which is why it went down to 50 hours per person. In July, Mass DOT came out with a small mini grant that I applied for with the help of the Friends who gave some matching funds. We got $756 plus an additional $90 from the Friends, which created all of these nice transportation magnets and a transportation rider guide. The mini grant was put out for rural transportation marketing initiatives. So we were able to put together these nice guides for new people who are riding our vans and to help people remember to call us if they do need a ride. So we're going to be handing these out at third Thursdays in different events. And then, let's see, I already talked about the rental voucher program. And then Nicole just wanted me to highlight some events coming up, but there's all of our upcoming events on my report. We're going to have an Amy welcome coffee and tea on September 6th. Massages are returning on the 16th of September. Brains and Balance is going to restart on 9/25, and that'll be $30 for 10 weeks. And don't forget, the cookout is tomorrow. And we'll see you at noon.
Okay.
That's the highlights. Questions?
Any questions for Liz?
Move the reports be accepted.
I second it.
There's a motion on the table to accept the reports.
Yep.
And, okay, it was seconded. So-
All in favor?
Oh, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
And I think that was unanimous. Anybody opposed? No? Okay. And no abstentions. Did you see this one? All right.
I stop.
Is there any other business that may properly come before the board? David?
Yeah, I
It was
was a
really
little
good.
late, so I just wanted to ask, had there been any progress or information coming from Space Needs?
Space.
I neglected to actually update when I was talking about the the working group for senior center.
No.
I apologize because I could have updated you then. But it was, that group has been sort of disbanded.
Okay.
And I think Cindy can speak to that a little bit, if you want to,
Sure.
please. It was felt that it wasn't a functional group, I
Okay.
think. Basically, it was so large. So, go ahead.
It wasn't being as productive as we had hoped it would be when we first formed it, because it was considerably large. So what we decided to do, we have our OPM is on board, and then we moved forward and we hired the Architect LLB, their firm. So we decided at this point going forward, it would be more productive if we disbanded the working group. And basically, so Chuck DeCosta and myself and Nina Nizari are working directly with the architect firm at this point going forward. And what is going to happen is the architect firm will then go out and speak to all the stakeholders and gather the information that they need from them directly. Instead of going through the group, it wasn't being productive.
Probably wise.
Yeah, so, to no fault of anybody, it was just so,
Yeah.
sometimes when you get a big group like that together, we couldn't get a quorum all the time, and, so that's where we're at with that.
So it's you and Chuck and Nina
Yeah,
and the OPM and the architects?
in the architect firm.
And
And
that's
they will be-
just,
And this is for what?
So the first call,
Space needs.
well, what we asked them to do initially is to assess the DCU building,
That's what I want
to see if it would be feasible for a senior center or not.
yeah,
And the second thing that we've asked them to do in conjunction with assessing the DCU building is to assess this building. It's a very old building, as you know.
Yeah.
It has a lot of issues, as you know. So we're having them take a look at this building just to
Alright.
see what can be done with it.
all right, so they're not done with that yet?
No, no.
All
What
right,
about the old library, when it becomes an old library?
Two very large
It's part of
bulldozers.
this building.
It's part of this
This
building.
building.
Right. So really, part of the assessment of this whole building is to determine,
Yeah.
just the wiring and the heating and the,
Asbestos.
and all
Okay.
that.
And that information probably, when they start, information comes back, it'll come down through that, the work group now, correct? As you're getting information back from the architects and things of that nature,
Right.
the information will come down through the working group for senior center now.
Right, right. And so what will happen with that also, as well as, they'll meet with Liz, for example, and Nicole, but they'll probably also come meet with you, just to get your input, just to get input from all the stakeholders.
Okay.
Is there a time frame?
No, we don't have a time frame, unfortunately.
Should there be?
Well, we would prefer sooner rather than later.
Well, Nina said at this meeting that by the time we met in September, she should have a report, at least from the
Yeah.
Architect.
I understood her to say that by then, the architects will be meeting with the state,
Yeah, I don't think
with the
they'll have a
directors.
report ready by then, Nancy.
Yeah,
I wish that they would.
But that's what I understood her to say,
Yeah.
was by the time we had our next meeting in September, the architects might be starting to meet with the department heads, the stakeholders that are involved.
Right, yeah, so.
So it's, in other words, getting,
thank you.
hopefully started.
Right.
My question is answered.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's a good question, it was a good question, and many people have been wondering about that, so I'm
So
glad you
now a
asked
motion
it.
to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, well, we had a motion, and
Second?
Second.
seconded, all right, all those in favor?
Aye.